Good evening, everyone. Just coming in for a quick little random chat of the to talk about a situation in Chicago that really is disturbing. I don't know why Chicago has a gay woman mayor with a white woman, and Black Lives Matter has not came out. Your black preachers in Chicago are getting paid money not to come out and really do nothing for the community. In Chicago, they're gonna have a 10,000 woman march, and hopefully I can be there. If not, I hope other people will be there. But 10,000 woman march, Christians and Muslims getting together to do a march of for for this thing. Now, if this was a woman that got arrested naked outside of her house, then surely um, the feminist groups, Black Lives Matter, LGBT, Me Too, should be out there raising Cain, but obviously not. So I was showing you getting paid off by entities to keep their mouth shut. Um, which is, I mean, this is what they do anyway. I mean, you got more black preachers talking about a damn vaccination than you got black preachers talking about um reparations and anything else. I mean, they should be talking about reciprocity. They're not. But yes, if anybody saw the situation in Chicago last week, they saw where the woman got dragged out of the house naked, and Lori Lightfoot tried to cover it up. Um, it was there. Um, it was already in motion before she got in office, but she admitted to knowing about the tape. As far as I'm concerned, Lord Lightfoot should never been in office anyway. But when you pay all preachers and the clergy and they let you get in office, that's what it is. So she's paid off them. She paid off gang members. She paid off a lot of people. A lot of it actually had their coronavirus money. How you doing, Dot Boss? Hello, brother. But without further ado, let me try to find this video because I need to share it if I can. I gotta put it on the tablet. So hold on for a minute. Let me get this video straight because I need to show this video.
Now to that CBS 2 investigators exclusive, a story about Another bad raid by Chicago police that the city's legal team is trying to stop us from telling you. It involves an innocent woman getting handcuffed, naked, with a dozen male officers watching. Now, she wants you to see the body camera video, but tonight the city went to federal court to try to keep it secret. Here's CBS2 investigators and Dave Savini.
I had just gotten home from work, and when I was undressing in my bedroom,
it was a cold February night, and Jeanette Young, a social worker, had just finished her shift at the hospital.
You see them running up to the apartment complex with the battering ram in their hand, a crowbar. It was so traumatic to hear the way the thing was hitting the door. And it happened so fast, I didn't have time to put on clothes.
And suddenly, she found herself frozen in fear. Completely naked. In a room full of men. 9 body cameras rolling. And you're just standing there.
And I'm just standing there. I mean, terrified, humiliated, not even understanding why in that moment that this is happening to me.
And the first thing police reach for is not clothing. It's handcuffs.
There were big guns and guns with lights and scopes on them, and they were yelling at me, you know, put your hands up, put your hands up.
What are you thinking right now?
I just remember, you know, being so afraid. It's one of those moments where I just felt like that I could have died that night. If I had made one wrong move, I felt like they would have shot me. I truly believe that they would have shot me.
A police officer wraps a short coat around her shoulder, still leaving her front fully exposed. Even the sergeant in charge of the raid just stands there talking to her as she has nothing covering her.
And they shouldn't have been able to arrest this woman naked now. Y'all see what's going on here, right? That's some BS. You're not supposed to arrest no suspect naked. Y'all see that, right? Look at the damn head off. Shit.
Attention Virginia homeowners. Are you tired of paying to meet an expensive electricity bill? Well, if that's the case, you could be saving upwards of $100, $200, or even $300 a month by going solar. In the year 2020, Virginia is offering local and state incentives that are going to be able to save you thousands of dollars on your new system. Plus, for a limited time at Shop Renewable Energy,
Then she gets a blanket.
They just threw something over me. And my hands are behind my back and I'm handcuffed. So there was no way for me to secure the blanket that they put around me.
But the blanket just keeps sliding open. More humiliation.
You need to tell me what you're looking for. What are you looking for?
How some officers just stand there until this one, wearing a mask, sees what's happening and goes and holds it in place.
It felt like forever for me. It felt like forever. Oh my God, this cannot be right. How is this legal?
It ain't.
Listen how she repeatedly tells the raid team they were in the wrong place.
You have the wrong
In the wrong house, right?
You got the wrong house. You got the wrong house.
We counted. She says it at least 43 times.
You got the wrong house.
And she was right. They were in the wrong house. Our investigation uncovered police failed to do the most basic research before getting the search warrant approved. We found they simply took the word of an informant who gave them Anjanette Young's address. The informant claimed a 23-year-old man who
Why ain't Lori Dyke quit doing something about this?
I don't know who
Because she married that white woman.
I've been living here for 4 years and nobody lives here but me. I don't have to shout. This is ridiculous. You got me in here because I'm naked. You kicked my house in. And I keep telling you, you got the wrong
the raid, something happens. Watch as two of the officers go to their squad car and begin reviewing their notes about the warrant. CPD would not comment on what you're about to hear the officers saying a few minutes later.
It wasn't initially approved or some crap. What's that mean? I have no idea, because they told them it was approved, and then that person messed up on their end.
Messed up is an understatement. So, where was the target? Our investigation revealed he was awaiting trial on home confinement here at a different apartment in Anjanette Young's complex. How easy would it have been to locate him? Easy. Real easy. Because he was wearing a police tracking device, an electronic monitoring bracelet. It's possible he could have even heard the raid happening, because records show he was confined to the unit right next door.
But I'm telling you it's wrong. I'm asking you to let me call somebody. I'm asking you to let me put the clothes on. I'll sit here and let you do whatever you need to do. But let me call somebody, let me call an attorney, because I'm telling you this is wrong. I have nothing to do with whoever this person is you're looking for.
We found if they would have done a little bit more research, they might have found where the target actually lived.
Yes.
I think Scrub was being too kind, because ultimately, this is a constitutional rights issue.
Keenan Salter is Anjanette Young's attorney and is suing the police department.
If this had been a young woman in Lincoln Park by herself in her home, naked, a young white woman, let's just be frank, if the reaction would have been the same. I don't think it would have been. I think they would have saw that woman, rightfully so, as someone who was vulnerable, someone who deserved protection, someone who deserved to have their dignity maintained. They viewed Ms. Young as less than human.
Can I please call somebody?
Yeah, man, relax.
How can I relax when this is going on?
They did eventually walk her to a room to remove the handcuffs so she could get dressed, but then put them right back on and kept questioning her.
There are no firearms in this place.
There's no gun in this place. I'm a social worker. I've been a social worker for 20 years. I follow the law. I don't get in trouble for anything. I don't do illegal stuff. I'm not that person. You got the wrong information.
At this point, the sergeant
Pass
in charge
to
of
Chicago
the
now,
tells
stepping
the
up.
officer who
Lori
got
Lightfoot
the
to bait them
warrant
all.
to step outside.
Let's go talk outside.
But you won't hear it because once
Faith-based
outside, the
initiative.
body camera is shut off. Back inside Anjanette's home, another officer finally uncuffs her. She had been bound for 20 minutes. Listen as the sergeant returns with a new message.
We believe your story.
And you can see him trying to fix the door that they busted so she could close it and lock it. But it was too damaged to repair, so watch as they try to find something to wedge it shut. They settle on an ironing board. Surreal?
Surreal. It's almost like a bad movie. When I watch this, I feel like I'm watching a movie. But those are no actors. I'm no actor. This is my real life. And it happened to me. They're adding trauma to people's lives that will be with them for the rest of their lives. The work is warranted. They need to do the work, but they need to do it right. They can't just callously do it and leave people's lives in ruins because they got it wrong.
The sergeant in charge apologized to her before he left.
Sorry about that, but you got the drift of what's going on. Now it was another subject I want to talk about because I gotta say something about Anjanette Young. When you're looking at this woman, she got what happened to her. This should never happen again. But you got black pastors, of course, in Chicago. They've been paid off money by Lori Lightfoot. And you have the LGBT Black Lives Matter group that have been told to stand down. Don't do anything about police violence right now. Stay out of the way. That's the marching orders Black Lives Matter has from the Democratic Party. So as we all know, they're going to do what their masters tell them to do. They're funded by 600 Jewish organizations. So we have to pay attention to what Black Lives Matter is doing, and the other organizations as well, feminist organizations. Now, the other big subject is, and I said this would come up in a couple of days, about vaccinations by your sports stars. So everybody been saying about vaccinations. Now I was reading an article today where it says that NBA players may get behind public policies to promote vaccines. So let's see what they say. I haven't seen this yet, but I just want to see what they say.
Dr. Ashton here with the answers to your questions. Let's start. Number one here, besides medical professionals, any idea if sports leagues, live performers, politicians, other groups would receive early access to the vaccines?
It does not appear so, based on the CDC, the ACIP recommendations, the National Academy of Sciences. They've delineated the first A, B, and C of phase one. It's healthcare workers and long-term care facility people who live in nursing homes going first. 1A, that's about 25 million people. And I want to also say, it's not every healthcare worker. I just received a notice from my hospital. They're going to be stratifying who gets offered the vaccine first based on where you work, what department, what division in the hospital. So remember, initially, access and limited numbers are going to be the name of the game.
And could you imagine how bad of a look that would be if somebody found out, oh, the NFL is being vaccinated?
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.
I can't see that happening.
It's not going to happen. All right, number two here. Do we know why some healthcare workers who are strictly following precautions are still getting COVID-19?
Well, it's a great question. And really, some of the contact tracing and epidemiology seem to point to two vulnerable areas. Number one, break rooms. Okay, and not if you've been in a hospital, you know, people go.
Now I'm gonna show you why not to take this vaccination, and they don't want to show this on TV right now. I guess they don't want to scare you. Facebook will say it's false information. She had a prior condition.
A nurse is vaccinated, but just minutes later, this happens.
I'm sorry.
Tiffany Dover fainted as she spoke to reporters at a hospital in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But it turns out it wasn't a reaction to the vaccine.
They lying.
Tiffany has a medical condition and faints often.
They lying. She passed out with the vaccine.
Recovered and spoke to reporters.
I have passed out probably 6 times in the past 6 weeks. You know, it's common for me.
It's very common. People should not use that as a barometer for not taking the COVID-19 vaccine or other vaccines.
No such mishaps in Washington as Vice President Mike Pence was vaccinated.
You're not taking a real vaccine.
As the hand of medical technician Sean Wadeen shakes nervously as he puts the needle into his arm.
I, by the way, as a surgeon, I'm also a little bit afraid of needles.
Neurosurgeon Dr. Sanjay Gupta revealed he's afraid of needles, but he went ahead anyway, live on CNN.
Good acting. Good acting.
But even as thousands get vaccinated, the pandemic rages on, worse than ever. 100,000 new cases were reported in 48 hours in California, among them the 9-year-old daughter of LA's mayor. Also revealing her COVID diagnosis, 47-year-old supermodel Eva Herzegova. And the condition of the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, is said to be worsening. He contracted COVID after a meeting with other European leaders. There are no ICU beds available anywhere in Southern California. Hospitals are no longer allowed to turn away ambulances and must accept patients regardless
that's a
of their
damn lie.
As a result, there are often ambulances lined up outside with patients.
That's a damn lie, because that's a damn lie. Because anybody know that daggone if you go to any hospital, and I guarantee anybody in this chat can go to any hospital in the US and they will find that they got hospitals open. I've been riding by hospitals. Ain't nobody in there more than usual. In Virginia, the flu to overtaking the COVID vaccination anyway. Because the flu, in some cases in Virginia, we have no cases of COVID. Ain't no damn new strain. They a lying dog. They trying to find a way to pass it. So I don't know why they keep on going what they're doing. But I do understand why they're doing it. I mean, they're trying to get it going, trying to get their plan in motion. As a matter of fact, let's check out something. Let me see if I can find another article. The Great Reset. Okay. Let's see if I can get one more article in here for y'all guys. Let's see, the great. This was from the Great Reset at the World Economic Forum. When you hear them terms, Build Back Better and all that stuff, this is what's really going on. Okay, let me see if I can get this up full screen because people really need to see this. This was at the World Economic Forum earlier this year. Needs to be in the screen now. Okay, this is the Great Reset at the World Economic Forum that was discussed earlier this year. Shoot, I might have to make this full screen, man. I know y'all can't read that. I gotta find a way to get the damn thing straight. But anyway, this is really what they're trying to do. Start the Great Reset. And be aware, when they start talking about all that nonsense about COVID and everything, they want to replicate your DNA. I'll read some of it. It might be too small for people. I may have to go to another article of this Great Reset. Basically, the Great Reset is really talking about. It wants to vaccinate you, put a chip in you. It's part of Agenda 2030. Sustainable Development Goals pledge to build a better world. You can look this up yourself and see what they're talking about in here. But it's the ability to build a better world. So when you hear that stuff, build back better and stuff. Vaccinations, ID chip, vaccine verification card. COVID means certificate of verification ID. That's all it means. The 19-1 is A, 9 is I, AI, artificial intelligence. I was going through the toll this morning and I realized that, doing the toll after 9 o'clock at night, you got to go through the toll. So it's all, It's all game right here at this point, people. Let's go to a YouTube video. They are trying to replicate your DNA. I want to go to a YouTube video of Dr. Anthony Fauci right quick. Also, the vaccine also has sterilized Asian Luciferian diet or something like that. They might have the name wrong, but you get what I'm saying. The vaccine is the mark of the beast in the Bible, as they say, and it's being promoted by the synagogue of Satan. As a matter of fact, let me pull this article up. Let's see. What is it? Oh, I got it. I'm not going through all this for this leprechaun, but I just want you to hear what these guys, Howard stuff, and all they got to say. There's a guy from Howard University. You know you're a coon. That's why that woman Mackenzie Scott gave all that money to HBCUs just there, trying to make them vaccination camps. You know, mind you, Eunice Rivers and all that stuff.
I'm going to introduce Dr. Anthony S. Fauci for our audience. Dr. Anthony S. Fauci is many seminal contributions in the basic plan for AIDS relief, a program
for those of us who are deeply involved in addressing this COVID-19 challenge that we're facing, and that is the very painful disparity, not only in incidence and prevalence of COVID-19 disease among African Americans and people of color, but also the disproportionate burden of serious disease as reflected in increased hospitalizations to the tune of 4 times the number of hospitalizations per 100,000 population among African Americans compared to the population in general, and at least twice as many deaths. These are things that relate to so many factors that I hope we get a chance to discuss this evening so that we could learn from you and do better in how we address so many of these difficult issues that are right now, I believe, at the forefront of what we are obligated to do with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic. So I'll stop there and be happy to engage in discussion with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for making time to really talk to and have a conversation with the Black community. And one thing that I have learned in terms of some poll taking, even though there is some trepidation of African Americans in terms of taking the vaccine or participating in vaccine trials, still African Americans do trust Dr. Fauci. And so that's actually a very good sign. So I want to start off by letting you know that a lot of African Americans do trust because you're very forthright based on science, and we try to follow the science. However, I do want to put some things into context as we start our conversation.
Anybody in this chat trust Dr. Fauci?
A very recent
I don't know nobody trust no Dr. Fauci.
Poll and other polls taken. So, for example, blackdoctors.org also took a poll on their website, but they have indicated a reluctance by the Black community to participate in vaccine trials or to take the vaccine once it is available. The immediate question is around mistrust. Mistrust of the state, mistrust of white people, mistrust of the medical community, and so on. You generally hear of the Tuskegee syphilis experiment and Henrietta Lacks, but it is rooted much deeper. From slavery to Jim Crow, to targeting of Black leaders, to police brutality and uneven court justice, to Black Lives Matter, and now to the disproportionate impact of COVID on the Black community. While at the same time, there is recognition of Black progress made in society. not just in arts, entertainment, and sports, but also in education, business,
That's
and
not
science.
progress.
The poll shows an almost even split between Black people who will take the vaccine and those that won't. And it cuts across economic positions. In addition to all of those issues, all of those, peeling back that layer of the onion, the whole country has been fed misinformation and sometimes outright lies about COVID-19 and vaccination. So my first question, which is a tough question,
who are you working for?
Is why should Black people trust this process?
Well, Ambrose, I think the first thing that we need to appreciate, those of us who are trying to convince our African American brothers and sisters to trust the process, because it's ultimately to the benefit of the life and safety of the individuals as well as your families and your entire community, is that to first understand the reasons and empathize with the reasons for the mistrust, as opposed to pushing back against the mistrust. And one of the ways that I try to do it is to try and dissect out not the fundamental core of the distrust, but take the particular situation you're dealing with now and say, let's try and start off on an even footing. What are the reasons for this particular situation, namely the vaccine,
you believe
that you have reluctance and skepticism about getting vaccinated? And I think there are two major issues that when I explain them to my friends and colleagues and people who I don't know in the African American community and the community of people of color, is that the speed with which this was done. Isn't there something reckless about that? Well, the first thing is to point out that the speed has nothing to do with compromising safety or scientific integrity. It's due to the extraordinary and exquisite advances in vaccine platform technology, which has allowed us
nanobots,
to do things
nanobots
in weeks to months that formerly took years, several years, and to engage in a dialogue and talk about that as opposed to just feeding it to them. The second thing is, well, how do I know that this vaccine is really safe and is really effective? Is this just some government ploy? We've been fooled before by the federal government. You gave some very cogent instances just a moment ago. Well, or is it the pharmaceutical companies that want to get rich over us? Well, we can address both of those. First of all, the determination of whether a vaccine is truly safe and effective is not made by the company indirectly, and the government doesn't see the data at all until way down the process. The data first come to a totally independent data and safety monitoring board that is made up of experienced clinicians, scientists, vaccinologists, statisticians, and ethicists. They look at the data and they independently determine if it's safe and effective. If it is, they show it to the company. The company then analyzes it and presents it to the FDA and applies for an emergency use authorization or outright approval. The experienced career scientists, not the politicians, the career scientists in the FDA examine the data and then, in association with their own advisory committee, the Vaccine and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, or VRBPAC, those individuals then advise the FDA. When they then say that the vaccine is safe and effective, I will tell you all that I myself will be perfectly comfortable in taking the vaccine, and I would recommend it to my family. So it really is a process of trying to dissect out what the reasons for the skepticism are and to try and address them individually, fully respecting the underlying skepticism that you have every reason to have for historical reasons, to balance those two. That's how I would approach it.
So in that conversation, and what I mentioned earlier is that there have been advances in society, including African Americans in science. And my understanding is that that independent monitoring board has African American scientists on it. In fact, one works with you directly. I don't know if she's on the board, but we know that we have an African American scientist that works with you directly. And so this is, and talk, you can speak about her work, but also how important that is in terms of breaking down these myths and the historic trepidation, because it's a new day. It's not 1930 anymore. This is 2000. This is 2020. And so the times have changed, and the input of African American scientists in this process is much deeper than one might think. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think the example that you gave, Ambrose, is an excellent example. The very vaccine that's one of the two that has absolutely exquisite level, 94 to 95% efficacy against clinical disease and almost 100% efficacy against serious disease, that is shown to be clearly safe. That vaccine was actually developed in my institute's vaccine research center by a team of scientists led by Dr. Barney Graham and his close colleague, Dr. Kizmekia Corbett, or Kizzy Corbett. Kizzy is an African-American scientist who is right at the forefront of the development of the vaccine. So the first thing you might want to say to my African-American brothers and sisters is that the vaccine that you're going to be taking was developed by an African-American woman. And that is just a fact. I mean, that is a fact. And I think that's some of the things that people don't fully appreciate.
Absolutely. And thank you for that information, because one of my residents, as a matter of fact, Mary Douglas Brown, who is 70 years old, lives in Ward 7 in Washington, D.C., had a question where she asked, number one, if I had...
Anybody see the game going on here with these clowns? This clown from Howard and this clown from wherever he's from. I don't even know where he's from. I had to look him up, but it is what it is. But you see the game they're playing, and they got the little leprechaun up here speaking. I think he's a Jesuit too. But yeah, we got to be a little bit more open and honest with ourselves when it comes to listening to Dr. Anthony Fauci, because he doesn't speak for me. A lot of things going down in the last couple of weeks, so we have to be prepared, be diligent, and be ready. Everybody just, watch out for all the games being played on us right now. Does anybody in the chat have some questions for me? I just want to spend a couple of about 50 minutes with y'all today. So anybody got any questions for me in the chat? Oh, no, I don't trust him. Not at all. Don't trust him at all. No need to trust Fauci. He was behind the anthrax and AIDS crisis too as well, so no need to trust Dr. Anthony Fauci. Yeah, you got that right. I just got one article to show here for the people in the chat. People go take this home as a homework assignment. Guess who's behind this? As I always say, I always talk about the synagogue of Satan. So, COVID vaccines. Jewish If you go to the Atlanta Jewish Times, you'll find out. Damn. The COVID vaccines have Jewish links. His vaccine has links. But I just wanted to show people that this vaccine was created by Jewish people. Let me blow it up a little bit. Let's go full screen here. Anyway, the vaccines have Jewish links, so like I always say, yes, there's some vaccine exemption forms. Let me go on my page and find it. Yes, it is a vaccine exemption form. Tell you what. Let me go on my page, brother. I'll try to help you out on that. Yes, it is something you can do. You can file a religious exemption form, but I want to go to my Facebook page and I'll help you out here. Let's see. Might have to go back down a few weeks, but I'm gonna see, can I help you out, sir? It's gonna take a second, sir, because I post so much stuff a day. So I think the website is webmd.com. The hell? I think this is the website, guys. Webmd.com. Yeah, it should be like a vaccine exemption form on this website. I had it a couple weeks ago. If you come back in the chat, I probably have it again. But this should be the website. I remember having it on wrong. I have to make a correction. But now they're saying there's a new strain. You know, that's BS. So don't worry about that. Yeah, we have to like really buckle down. And I just hope that we can get some resolutions. I mean, that might be, I might have the wrong way to say it, but I think that's what it was. Maybe just if I went down my Facebook page, it would take forever. I post so many articles a day, so I couldn't really like find it. But I think that's the one. I think I posted about a week and a half ago. Matter of fact, let me go through. Let me try something. Just to make sure. I don't want to put nobody in the blind. That's not my job. My job is to enlighten and not to put people in the blind. So let me see who. Maybe I can go through somebody's page and find an old message or something. Yep, WebMD.com. The rules and laws explained. It's on that website. So I had the right website. I just had to make sure that I was leading people the right way. Any other questions before I run off or not? I think I answered your questions to the best of my ability. But if not, let me know. Anybody else got any other questions or comments or concerns? Nobody? Okay, seems a little interesting. But anyway, about the situation in Chicago, stay tuned with it. Be careful. There's gonna be a thing going on in Chicago about that march. Christians and Muslims marching. Never forget that Lori Lightfoot is tied in with these black pastors to not let truth come out, and that's why they're not coming down there to be with the people. Never forget that. Lori Lightfoot is a scumbag, and she has a white transgender or whatever woman, so she's a scumbag. But just wanted to point those things out to everybody. Thank you, Tim, Dana, and everybody else has been at Doc Boss. Mad respect, mad love for coming out today. And I just want y'all to be safe and have a wonderful evening, wonderful evening and a wonderful week. And be blessed and do what you have to do. Thank you.